Victoria's Mornington Peninsula serves up an idyllic lifestyle on the coast. But in January, in the sleepy suburb of Macrae, when the hillside suddenly gave way, so too went the serenity.
Well, no one's in that house.
I was in the living room, I think, watching the news. And then we just heard this, it's really hard, it was like a rumble, a really, really loud rumble.
A landslide caused a 3-storey home to tumble down the embankment and crash into another house. Paul Willigenberg was renting this home at the bottom of the hill.
I didn't have a clue what it was, maybe an earthquake. Then my wife screamed out, the bloody house has come down.
A council worker was left with a broken leg. 19 properties were evacuated and put under an exclusion zone. Since then, 8 remain inaccessible to residents, including Paul.
We've had this latest incident happened and now we've got no idea. We've just got no clue where the hell we are now.
Paul and his wife Denise find themselves in an extraordinary situation. They were renting a home at the bottom of the cliff because in November 2022, another landslip sent 10 tonnes of earth into the backyard of the home they owned 2 doors down.
When you say in your life it can't get any worse than this, it actually has got worse than this, and it's just kept getting worse and worse and worse. The Mornington Peninsula Shire, who issued the emergency order, in their view, there's a risk to life, so we're unable to return until that situation is resolved. And 27 months later, it's still not resolved.
Since that time, the Willigenbergs launched legal action against the council.
The legal question is basically who's responsible and who pays. I couldn't make it any simpler than that.
Those proceedings were put on pause after the landslide earlier this year. On the 4th of February, the state government announced its intention to set up a board of inquiry into the latest disaster.
Its purpose is to understand what has caused this impact.
More than a month on, it's yet to be established.
What has caused this landslide?
We still don't know. So there's obviously water flow, but we're not sure what the cause is.
Is this hillside still moving?
It is in the exclusion zone that we currently have set up, which is why there's still 8 homes that are not available to be accessed by the owners.
Whilst being evacuated from their homes, the Willigenbergs and a number of other residents have suffered the indignity of being robbed.
And this is the property that we haven't accessed for 27 months. Our neighbour called us and she basically said, look, your garage door's wide open and I can see stuff's been strewn all over the place.
The confirmation came a short time later when the police called.
They said, unfortunately, not only has your home been robbed, your rental property's been robbed as well. So we've been evacuated from 2 properties in 27 months. And now we've been robbed in 2 properties.
Victoria Police has told 7:30 they have still been unable to access several of the properties due to the exclusion zone, which in turn has prevented them from investigating and confirming some of the reports of looting. Paul Willigenberg says it's not just him who is struggling.
The one thing I thought of the other day is the effect on your friends and your family. And that's hard. Yeah, that's very hard.
It's been harrowing, particularly for my wife, to come back and realise that, you know, all of her heirloom jewellery handed down through generations has been stolen.
Mike O'Neill is a spokesperson for the affected residents. He also had his property ransacked. He is highly critical of the council's efforts to protect the affected properties.
It wasn't until properties had been wholesale burgled, had been tampered with, some properties have been ransacked, that council started to actually listen to us as the affected residents to say we should be doing a better job of actually maintaining these homes.
Do you think council's done enough to ensure these homes were secure and protected?
I think in council's remit, absolutely. I mean, it's not something most people would expect their rates to be used to provide private security to enforce crime or the fighting of crime over the peninsula.
It's a site you had responsibility over.
For safety to life.
Okay, but you've also forced the evacuation of people from their properties.
for safety for life. I do not believe we're responsible for fighting crime, but obviously we did take steps to try to eliminate that possibility. Clearly wasn't enough. But as you're probably aware, we had police resources that were withdrawn. We then stepped up our resources. But private security is never going to be the same deterrent as Victoria Police.
Council-funded CCTV cameras and security patrols are now present at the landslide site alongside the fencing. Residents are also critical of a lack of emergency assistance from authorities.
We've had no offer of financial assistance.
Any assistance during the relocation?
No,
Any emergency funds?
No.
Any...
no, we got offered $200 towards replacing our fridge if we needed to.
We've given rate waivers. Obviously, if the house is empty, it seems fair that we don't charge them rates for that period. But beyond that, we haven't been able to provide additional support. But we've provided that.
Do you think they deserve that?
Yes, but I guess it comes down to what's the role of council in this space. We've committed almost $3 million in the current budget to respond to this event. It's a huge number. So while, yes, I would love to be able to help further, I do think there's other responsibilities, state government that should be stepping in here and helping too.
Late last month, more concern surfaced on the hillside. This video, obtained by 7:30, shows water seeping through the backyard of a property inside the exclusion zone on the eastern edge of the landslide site. The council says it is investigating the source of this water coming out of the escarpment. A report given to residents at the end of February by council detailed the technical studies being carried out and indicated the landslide is still active.
We now have 3 different geotechnical firms helping us with the investigations, but these experts cost a lot of money. So financially, council, we can pay for that, but that means there's $3 million that won't go into building roads and footpaths and playgrounds. So something has to give.
In the weeks following the landslide, Mornington Peninsula Shire Council wrote to the state government requesting urgent technical and financial help to deal with the disaster. A Victorian government spokesperson told 7:30 the council is responsible for the ongoing management of the site and says it provided the council with a building surveyor from the Victorian Building Authority. 7:30 has confirmed the council is footing the bill and is paying the surveyor's wages.
When do you think these fences might come down and you might be able to move back in?
No idea. Absolutely no idea at all.
We're told it will be by the end of the year. In terms of people that are still out of their homes, I have real fears that who knows what the time frame is for them.
I think the issue broadly will be going on for a while. And then I think, there's going to be questions about other similar areas along the coast. We have cliff faces like this from Mount Eliza to Portsea, and I'm sure if you go into Frankston and around the coast elsewhere, these landslide events are probably going to be more common. This area's had a few, obviously. So I think this will be a bigger issue than Macrae, but also Macrae, I think this will go on for some time.
Paul and Denise are now renting a second home in neighbouring Dramana, just a couple of kilometres away, but the road back home seems a long way off.
Would you feel comfortable moving back in? Do you believe that the slope is safe?
Not until somebody proves it to me.